It is Thursday, July 11th. It is 9:33 a.m. I would like to call this meeting of the Housing Authority of Travis County to order. May I have a roll call, please? Present. That's okay.
Present. We have a quorum.
Okay. Public forum, citizen communication. Is there anyone here who would like to speak?
Yes, Gabby Garcia from Boston.
Okay, Gabby, same deal as usual. 3 minutes, please.
Wait, yeah, you'll come. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to be reading Miranda's testimony. She's out sick today. My name is Miranda, and I'm an organizer with BASTA. I have now worked with tenants at every HATC property, and today I want to return to the experiences of tenants at Carson Creek, who I first spoke to 7 months ago. Tenants at Carson Creek had been waiting for concrete details on their relocation plans for the renovation since April, with initial repairs dating back to January. Due to lack of clarity on dates and next steps, tenants have had to put their lives on hold for the past 7 months. Many have missed celebrations, chosen not to go on annual family trips, and even missed important medical procedures because they wanted to make sure that they would be home when renovations started. This uncertainty has been exhausting for them. One tenant I spoke to, who asked to remain anonymous due to fear of retaliation, told me they are interested in speaking to CVR about permanent relocation due to the complete loss of confidence in HATC after going through this relocation process. At the last board meeting, HATC staff reported that tenants at Carson Creek had received notices and updates of their upcoming relocation. Tenants reported back that they had received a notice 2 weeks ago stating that employees from CVR would be coming to their homes to speak to them about the relocation. As of the end of last week, no one had reached out to them, let alone gone to visit in person. Almost every tenant I spoke to asked me if BASTA had details about the relocation and said that other than that letter, they haven't heard much from HATC or Carlton. In addition to lack of communication, many tenants shared that their outstanding repair issues are being put on hold until the renovations are complete. Tenants like Janie Villanueva at 1410 Cool Shadow told me that none of the repairs that we discussed in January had been completed. This includes simple repairs like installing an accessible handle in her shower and replacing rotted cabinets. Another tenant was also told that they wouldn't make further repairs. Her name is Vicki Brown, 9502 Nightstar. I testified about this problem back in May. Her shower was modified to make it accessible, but the job was done incorrectly, resulting in making the stall smaller so that she no longer fits. Forcing tenants to wait on simple repairs when they don't have concrete timelines is unacceptable, especially since tenants reported these issues months ago. Tenants at Carson Creek deserve clear communication on the process of relocation and renovation. So far, HATC has only caused more confusion and frustration by promising tenants that CVR would reach out in person. We would like the board to be aware of the situation on the ground so that HATC and Carlton staff can work together to provide tenants with the information they need and deserve. We also ask that you instruct the staff to deal with simple repair issues and not to make the tenants wait another 6 months. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else who would like to speak? Okay, consent agenda, item number 3, approval of the minutes from the June 6, 2024 regular meeting. Is a motion?
So moved.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Yeah. Motion passes.
Motion passes.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, number 4, action items, resolution number HATC-2024-09, to approve the selection of one or more firms to provide legal services.
Yes, Steve will provide a brief overview of the process.
Okay.
Yes, Commissioners, morning. We had issued an RFP earlier this year to solicit legal service providers with regard to a number of areas that we typically seek assistance from such organizations, including general counsel, real estate counsel, litigation counsel, employment matters counsel, and landlord tenant matters counsel. And we had responses from 6 firms. You should have this information in your packet, but there were six qualified law firms that responded to our RFP. The directors here reviewed in detail all the RFPs and arrived at a final recommendation of who we would recommend going with into the future. And these two firms, one of which can handle, we would like to handle most everything except for the landlord-tenant matters, and the other firm, just landlord-tenant matters, although there could be some overlap there. You know, the criteria we looked at were relevant specific qualifications, overall proposal methodology for their service delivery, their pricing structure, and their accessibility and availability. You know, we preferred somebody local for that reason. And we did get submittals from outside the area too. So we actually ended up culling down our recommendations to, again, two firms, one being Denton Navarro, Rodriguez, Bernal, Santee, and Zek, who we've utilized on occasion for a few things. We believe that they are qualified to handle the bulk of the legal services needs here going forward. The second firm is the Rogers Law Firm, who we've actually been working with for quite a while, that really kind of specializes more in landlord and tenant matters, although they could handle other issues as well. And both these firms have a local presence. And
So Steve, you're considering both of these firms to be?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
yeah,
Sort of put on retainer, like?
Well, neither requires a retainer.
Okay.
It's more of a general service agreement
Okay.
where we understand their rate, they bill us for any hours that we utilize them for. It's not a monthly retainer. There's not some sort of fixed cost
It's
going
just
forward.
as needed.
Yeah, it's just as needed.
Okay.
And so really, it's not a big commitment on our part, but we've notified them that these two firms are finalists pending board approval. And we did have a resolution prepared
Okay.
that you should have in front of you that basically just approves our recommendation. And again, no big commitment on our part financially at all.
Okay.
It's a formality, I guess.
What was the major reason for getting two as opposed to one that handled it all?
Yeah, I can speak to that.
Patrick.
Yeah, so we have history with Rogers Law Firm, and they had a good track record. And to be honest, all the firms weren't interested in doing all of the work. So they were across the board. We had, I don't mention names, but we had a couple different agencies that weren't interested in tenant landlord matters or different aspects of it. So, you'll find that sometimes, let's say some are more focused on bond counsel, or they'll have an arm that may be in another city that they may be interested in doing. And that's why that was the experience with Naaman Howell. Like certain aspects of the work was done by someone else. So you'll find that with firms, they want to specialize in certain areas, and it's not uncommon to have more than one counsel. When I was with the Philadelphia Housing Authority, I think we had like 6 different ones, that were specialized in certain areas because of their particular expertise. So the combination of these two are more than adequately suited to cover what we need.
How does it, getting a general counsel, did that ever come into consideration, hiring an independent general counsel?
Well, this is what this would be, general counsel.
Yeah, I understand, but on a full-time basis too.
So based on the work and the volume, it's significantly less to approach it this way. Even with the billable hours versus having someone, we looked at the billing for last year in terms of what we needed, and it would be substantially more to have someone internal for this size of agency. Even Hawker has their general counsel is not internal. they utilize, they outsource it. So it's more commonplace these days to have external general counsel, but some of the large agencies may have someone internal, but you'll find probably both scenarios.
So,
But the hours that we expended, even with the multiple attorneys we used, would still pale in comparison to having someone full-time as a general counsel.
okay. They be able to, attend meetings on an as-needed
Yes.
basis? Okay. And, you talked about bond counsels. Are any of these, individuals specialize in bond counseling?
So we still have Mr. Plummer as a transactional counsel for real estate. We're using through TCFC. So we're gonna still be utilizing him specifically for transactional transactions. So he wouldn't be dealing with any kind of general counsel. But they like to bifurcate, the work and not necessarily have them do both, which is what we found in our previous experience, that the bond counsel wasn't very well versed in general counsel duties. So ideally, you want to have them not as the same
Yeah,
person.
I know, but we may have some bonds or something in the near future.
Correct. In those cases, like correct. If we need special counsel, we still have the ability to go out and seek if we need it. And I think, to be honest, I'd prefer it to be do that way versus, using someone who may have somewhat versed in it, but not necessarily a specialist.
Okay. I know McCall Parker has done a great deal of work here in the area for bond counseling also, so you may want to keep them into consideration also.
Yes.
Okay.
You good?
Yeah,
Okay. Do I have, he needs to make the motion, right?
yeah. Are we ready for the motion? I'll for motion that we approve, resolution HATC 2024-09.
With the staff
Approval of
recommendation.
the, say what now?
With the staff recommendation.
With the staff recommendation, with the approval of the two firms, that, you recommend.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Weird, but just the two of us. All right. Item number 5, discussion item A, Carson Creek, Carlos.
Hi, good morning, board members. Wanted to quickly give you an update on what's been going on. Since your approval back on May for the contract for the renovation project, Don Smith, our architect, as well as Michael Richardson and HATC have been ironing the details for the finalized contract. We finalized the contract on July 8th to begin the project. During that interim, we have been sending weekly updates to residents' doors. Also, on June 20th, we hosted a town hall meeting at Carson Creek itself. For those residents that were not able to attend, we knocked on their door. For those that were able to receive us, we went inside and updated them on the details that was happening with Carson Creek itself. Just to clarify a couple of items, we did let them know that CVR was the part of the relocation team. They were going to be the ones that were going to be reaching out to them. To just wait for our confirmation on when that will be happening. I'm not sure where the confusion may have landed there, but we'll make sure and clarify it. I will make sure and send out a notice today with all those details to those residents, just to make sure that we're all very clear on what's to happen. In the interim on all of that, we have also attended all the work orders and any immediate needs that have been presented to us. Michael Richardson has also provided a great candidate location for the Colorado Creek Apartments, which is only 8 miles away from Carson Creek. It's not going to stray them away too much away from their day-to-day routine. Also, it will keep all the children within the Dale Valley High School district itself. Michael Richardson will begin also on some of the exterior work in the interim of the relocation process itself. He will start on some of that. Basically, what he will start on is the roofing systems. He won't need the tenants out of their units for him to actually start on that. So we'll get that going as well. By next week, CVR will be actually going to reaching out to the tenants themselves. Christina is going to help me provide the contact information over to the CVR so that he can reach out to every single individual just to ask any preliminary questions, but also seeing if there's going to be any additional help that's going to be required from them, and then completing the application process for that new apartment complex there as well.
Do the residents all know that you found this place 8 miles away?
No, this is something that was just presented.
Just presented,
Yeah,
okay.
we haven't selected it just yet, only because we're gonna have CVR go out there. Now, if some of the other tenants have other preferences, like maybe relocating with a family member or so,
Right.
that may be that other option that we may go with.
And what would you say is like sort of the notification rate? Like what's the percentage of people who know this is happening?
Every single one that
Everybody?
we've talked to
Okay.
out there, again, if they haven't been at the meeting themselves, we knocked on their door and we actually talked to those residents themselves.
Okay. Okay, great.
Yeah, but again, we'll go ahead and send out a notice today, letting them know exactly who's gonna contact them, when they're gonna be contacted as well, and then provide that contact information to our relocation team as well. For those additional other work orders that were mentioned as well, we have actually attended to all of them. Now, some of those though are going to be part of this rehab project itself, like the cabinets per se. So we'll go ahead and reach out to the tenants so that we can clear the confusion as well.
Okay.
There, when you get ready to start work on the roofs, you work with the contractor and work with the residents to see there's nobody out there working sleeping during the day or anything of that nature. So
Yes, sir.
make sure the timing is adequate, in a sense that maybe, because sometimes roofers want to get up there
Early
at
in the
6
morning.
o'clock in the
Right?
morning.
Yeah.
Before it gets
No.
too hot.
Yeah, we'll reach out to the tenants first. We're working with Michael Richardson on a daily basis, really. I do have him here on the line as well. I do wanted to properly introduce them here. I know we had CVR last month, and we wanted to bring out Michael Richardson. Michael, are you there?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Michael, if you can introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself here to our board members and what's to come.
Good morning, board members and attendees. I'm Michael Richardson. I've worked in the industry for over 35 years. I've had my business for over 35 years. I'm degreed in architecture, estimating schools, 3 years of engineering schools in residential and commercial. I've worked Houston, New Orleans, Dallas, Austin in my career, and I specialize in residential remodeling. I'm excited about the project, and I look forward to working with the residents and the housing community as well.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Michael.
You guys have any additional questions?
Just they keep the residents happy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I understand that.
All right.
right.
Moving on to, thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Moving
You
on
guys have a
to-
great day.
You too. B, Board of Commissioners Handbook Template. Steve.
Yes, so we are initiating a project to create HATC Board of Commissioners Handbook for you guys to better use to effectively govern and deal with compliance issues and more. And we've mapped out the outline of what this we ideally think it should look like, and we can break it down into several areas, being governance and operations. And things that would fall under that would be things like board composition, responsibilities, committee structure and charters, board meetings, board information materials, that sort of thing. And then other main sections, and I'm kind of lumping these together because this is how they'd be developed ideally over time. Code of conduct, ethics and conflicts of interest, executive and financial oversight, legal compliance, travel, and other considerations. So take all those together and you've got a pretty robust handbook.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Is there anything about guidance for training and education for board members in
Sure.
that process?
And again, this is sort of a anticipated outline, and the gaps can get filled in later.
Okay.
And the plan at this point is for the first section, being the governance and operations chunk of it. We would expect to have that for your consideration in September. And then the others following subsequent months, October, November, December. So ideally, it could all be done by the end of the year. Now, separate note, sadly, tomorrow's my last day with HATC, as you know. After almost exactly 3 years, I'm moving on. So I'm not sure who'll be doing this. Patrick will figure that out. But I think the project's off to a good start, and I'm handing over everything to him, back to him now. So,
Patrick, there are a lot of states and counties and entities that require the board members to do certain things. I know state law here says that you must take the Open Meetings Act course and et cetera, but also at least go to some type of training on an annual basis. We've had a history of board members not attending any training at all and just bootstrapping it. And it, in my opinion, it gives a board member that's actively seeking to improve themselves an opportunity. There should be some type of stipulation or requirement in that.
Yeah, so what we had envisioned based on your inclination to want to have a training requirement is we are having this section in there. So the intent is to move out of the personnel policy now, the section that references training, right, and put it in this document because now you have your own handbook as opposed to it being kind of a quasi-staff / board handbook.
Yeah.
So the training requirements and travel would be lifted from the personnel policy, put into this document, in addition to requirements that you suggest for training. Now, it's still subject to the Board of Commissioners' approval in terms of removing someone or not removing it. But you as a board can say you're required to do X, Y, and Z as a fully functioning board member, and that would be, the alternative would be you would be recommending to the Commissioners' Court that a person has failed to meet their obligations and therefore maybe not stay on the board, but obviously it's still subject to their decision making. But we will have a section about recommended required trainings and then what the I guess the result of not meeting those training requirements would be, which would be a recommendation, essentially Commissioners Court. But we do believe, so as Steve mentioned, obviously some of this work will be outsourced. We are starting on a component of it with the young lady we talked about before with the governance and bylaws piece, and then we'll be working on different sections. But by end of year, we'll have a compendium of policies that will address these needs with the ability to obviously continue to revisit those as things change. But that is our goal. So some of it will be, or most of it will be likely outsourced as a result.
Well, I mean, I think as a subset component of the guidebook itself, one of the things that I wasn't prepared for was most of the issues that we deal with that are contentious come out of TCFC, and a training manual on that, just that component of what we do would be an important part of this. So I don't know if you have it structured to just be HATC, with the subsidiary TCFC, here's your training. I don't even know that there's a place or a conference that we have that we could send people to where they would get trained on that. But
specifically training on what component of it?
Just like how deals are structured,
oh,
what
sure,
we're being asked
yes.
to do, things like
there
that.
Are,
Nova Gradix does a good job with that too.
Yeah, and Mr. Duncan, I don't know if you remember, you recall, they actually do a sort of a weekend kind of training retreat that goes into very great detail about deal structures and deal making, but that's not outside of the realm of possibility. So we certainly can make sure that you get a good deep dive into looking at how deals are structured.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly generated some confusion and then diverging points of view when it comes to this. And and board members need to understand that these metrics move around
That is correct.
based on, you
Yes.
know.
We will, so the way I envision it is, I mean, there will be, you know, components of it that are kind of standardized, and then there'll be specialized things that you add as, you know, appendices, you know what I mean, with specific training requirements. So we've collected a bunch of different trainings. In fact, I just went to one that Coach Rose put together that was really, really good. So we'll have documents like that, but we will work on putting something together for you all, specifically for that purpose.
Yeah, I mean, just like an understanding of our term sheet
Yes,
and that
Yes.
that this is all pliable based on, that each deal is individual.
duly
Okay.
noted.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else, Steve?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, item 6, CEO Executive Director's Report, Vouchers Programs. Christina?
Good morning. We are anticipating the NOFO for the COC grant, so that is in the works. And then other than that, it's just busy trying to get policy together so we can bring it to you in September, so we can, the annual plan, the MTW supplement, and the revisions to the administrative policy. So that's the bulk of the voucher program right now.
Okay. Questions? Okay. Item B, Affordable Housing Programs. Carlos?
Hi, good morning again. So our properties actually, our occupancy continues to increase throughout the entire portfolio. I have Christina here that's going to speak to you a little bit more about those details as well. She's the property manager there at the property. Go ahead.
Good morning.
morning.
Nice to be here. Basically, as Carlton has employed me to do a duty, I am proud to say we are not in a bad position. I am mending the gap between the residents on a daily basis. Not only are we focusing on the current issues that we stand before us, and also we are actively working. So for example, we were at 89.33 at Alexander and Summit. Right now we're at 92. I have all vacants leased. Currently, 3 of those are actually approved, and two are approved and 3 in compliance as we speak. So all have been leased, and there is a household member coming in. By the 22nd of July, we shall have Summit and Alexander 100% occupied on the route that we're going right now. Eastern right now previously was at 73.3. As of today, we're at 83%. 5 vacants, 5 applicants, 2 are in compliance, 3 are 100% approved, waiting for their move-in dates. By August 5th, we should be 100% at Eastern as well. Maynardtown, we are previously at 95. However, today we're at 90. We have 3 vacants, 1 applicant. Last month we had 2, but we discovered that they weren't 55 and over, didn't meet the qualifications. However, we already have an applicant for those 3 vacants. So we anticipate to be at 94% at the end of this month with that current applicant. So as of right now, we have 3 units that are unaccounted for, 2 in Maynard, and then 1 of our down units in Alexander, which we're working with the contractor. We got a contractor to start that project. And then once we get, see how far along, we will also be working with the applicant as well. So at the next board meeting, the occupancy, all properties should be at 100%. Then there I can focus now on my delinquency, which I actively have my assistant manager working on that project right now. We have already identified and addressed every resident with their current balance. We didn't get a lot of resistance, more of we approached them as we're here to help. We also gave them a list of many organizations, and we're working with them and the organization to see if we can get them some rental assistance, so they'll be able to put that behind and move forward currently in the project. So that's basically what's happening right now with all of our delinquency projects. So
Okay, with regards to delinquency, Patrick, have we approached the Commissioners Court about some type of grant money to help those individuals, or is that something?
Well, as Christina alluded, I mean, they have an established program, and they were funding through their already established rental assistance program. So the money that they had gotten, they had expended, they had committed all those through the, you know, their ARPA funds and other things. So they still have their standard rental assistance programs, which is what we do refer them to currently, and it seems to be working. I mean, there's also some churches as well that, I mean, Christina knows all the sources, but we've been utilizing those avenues.
And most churches will do it one time, but after that, you know, you get these repeat folks.
The blessings run out, and
Yeah, and then they won't go back, so we're,
Yes.
you know, we have to get some help in getting them.
That's right. Yes.
And Christina, what type of educational training with regards to assistance can
Well,
we provide for, is there an entity out there that would kind of coach them along in managing their finances?
Well, as of right now, we're trying to identify, Carlos and I are working very hard to identify each resident's needs. As we know that everybody have different medical issues, different needs. So as we're meeting with the resident one-on-one, we'll be able to first identify where they're struggling and need help at, and then go back to our resources to look for organizations that can help with the majority of the needs that we can find an organization to assist us with. So as the current moment right now, that's in the future. As far as getting everybody aware of the balance, accurately making sure that this is accurate and nothing's kinks that need to be checked out as well. But as of right now, that's one of our plans. Once we do our monthly meetings, our town hall meetings, we're gonna every month change it to either safety, budgeting, to all the residents as well.
Now, just to add on to that, now we do have Big Austin, and they do provide financial literacy workshops for them. So we'll be working with Big Austin to provide that for our residents as well.
Okay, anything else? Thank you.
All housekeeping inspections have been done, for Maynardtown has been done. We did discover that there is a major issue that came up, but we're being proactive about it. One is the foundation, being that we're in the last process of receiving the last bid for that proposal to present to y'all for approval. However, the property sets exposed from the bottom, and as the properties are shifting, it's causing a lot of activity with rodents or stuff like that. So basically, I have teamed up with our pest control, and we have come up with a solution to actively monitor each individual, all the units, to make sure there's not active activity, being that the buildings are exposed from the bottom due to the foundation.
This
and
is the
pillars.
existing Maynardtown.
Yes,
Correct.
Maynardtown
Okay.
1.
Yeah, that's all out there in Maynard is old farmland, and it's real lot of sand. And
Yeah,
the
yeah.
shift is a lot, so
Yeah, still deals there.
It's
Yeah.
it's all over Maynard. It's not just at Carson.
Right.
It's the entire.
And it's primarily based on the foundation that it's built on. It's pier beams, and so that's the biggest reason why we're getting quite a bit of shifting there. Now, Maynardtown 2 is not going to have the pier beam foundation, so we're very glad about that.
Any update on the transformer?
Nothing yet. The only thing that I can let you know once we get there, of course, and I'll reiterate that as well. But the city of Maynardtown, actually, they've been working on the light poles, which is good news for us. They just cannot guarantee anything to us that there's going to be a transformer sooner than that 16-week delay that they told us.
Right.
Yeah.
I like how they couch that. Okay. All right, thank you very much, Christina.
Thank you.
Carlos. Back to Carlos, real estate development.
Yes. We actually are currently at 88.4% completion. Our contractor is still actively working without the transformer, so they're working on items that they're not able to, or that they're able to, sorry. In the meantime, while the transformer actually gets here. Again, the city of Maynard has been gone out there. They're actually working on the street lights poles themselves, so which is positive news for us. Again, they're not able to give us a concrete answer that yes, or a confirmation that we're going to get the transformer anytime sooner. They are working on it, but they just don't want to confirm anything just yet. Yeah. So they're working on the tile surroundings, plumbing fixtures, light fixtures, ceiling fans, electric trim, fire alarm trim panels, the final grading, flat work, sidewalks, the pergola, and the awning as well. So that's what they're working on right now.
Okay. All right.
Any questions?
No? Okay. D, Finance, Subra.
Good morning. So what's included in the board report is the financials for all these housing authority programs through May 31st of 2024, which is 5 months, 5 months of activity. I don't really have anything to highlight. I can brief by exception if y'all have any questions. But
Well, I can also tell you all that we are working on the closings for the TCFC projects, which ultimately will lead to more resources for us. Additionally, those projects that you recently approved, we're trying to schedule it for the Commissioners Court. And we were supposed to have a meeting with one of the commissioners that got canceled. So we're hoping that that happens so that we can actually put it back on the Commissioners Court agenda and get those approved, which ultimately means moving forward with those projects.
How many projects was that?
4.
Okay. So you're trying to get it on their docket? Okay.
They stand a better chance going together than independent. So we
You mean bulking them together?
Yes.
Yeah. You haven't had any trouble, have you?
Well, we've only had one. We've only done it once with one group.
How many projects went through on the first vote?
4.
4. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Subra. Okay. Human Resources Organizational Development, Steve.
Okay. So, number of things to talk about. First of all, as we had mentioned at the last board meeting, we had submitted or were going to submit the formal application to HUD for an FSS grant for Family Supportive Services, which we hadn't had one of those in a number of years, and it's come back around and we are eligible for it, and apparently we've got the money lined up. We just had to go through the formality of submitting the application, which we did, and now we're just waiting to hear back on that. You'll hear in the future from Patrick on what that's looking like.
So how much money are we talking about, and what?
So the Family Self-Sufficiency Program is long-standing HUD program that provides you a position, essentially, to do similar to what BIG is doing, but in a sort of more narrowly focused context. Folks elect to participate in a program and they basically graduate from the program. So if they identify educational attainment as a goal, then the Family Self-Sufficiency Coordinator would work with them over a period of years to help them achieve that goal. And so it's a very, I'm going to say a very kind of autocratic kind of process, but it's good because individuals who are very specific and serious about certain things, like maybe it's home ownership or whatever the case might be, that those things get identified, and then the coordinator would work with those individuals very closely to help them achieve whatever that looks like.
So the grant provides you funding for a salary?
Funding a salary for a position.
Okay.
And then it provides a small amount of money to do some logistical, actions.
Okay.
All right. Not very much.
It's a niche.
Okay.
Yeah, we still have transportation, that grant for transportation here.
So a lot of times you can leverage the designation of having a family self-sufficiency program to get other money. But the grant in and of itself really only provides primarily for the position.
I know that, but I was thinking about, we still have money to use.
So we still have some bus passes from our previous grant that we got and received, and we have good relationships with those providers. So we typically have transportation in that context is if it's a challenge, we usually have the ability to be able to secure those.
Okay.
Okay.
And the next thing I was going to mention was which we've already discussed, was the board handbook development. Discussed that already. and also initiating engagement with the new legal services providers, and we'll take care of that. And then I don't recall if we mentioned this last meeting, but our 50th anniversary is next year. And so we are in the very early stages of looking at planning an event or events to commemorate that. It's obviously a big deal. So I've connected with a number of marketing, PR, communications firms on helping us with that process. And they were all highly recommended to me. And I'm passing, obviously, that on to Patrick and going forward. And then finally, working with trying to solidify some performance expectations with Big Austin. Their contract expires December 31. You know, we've had some disconnect on meeting expectations, and we're trying to get that straightened out. So.
Steve, there's a company, a Hispanic-owned company named Senate. Have you reached out to them?
Name who?
Senate.
What do they do?
They do marketing and
No, I haven't heard of them.
advertisement. Okay. I think I sent that to you at one time, Patrick.
Michaela, was that the one we got? That we worked on, that we,
Yeah.
oh.
They weren't the best. No, that was a different person. That was, no, can't remember.
You should have two different ones. We
She's
looked
big,
at both.
she's big time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it wasn't that one, it
you
was
never know.
another, it was the second one.
Yeah.
I think we have.
Yeah, that's they're national, but it's owned by a Hispanic guy out of Los Angeles, but he has a presence here in Austin.
And that's all I have.
Okay. All right. 7, board committee reports. Are there any reports? No. Okay.
Let me just go back one, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So we nailed down the date. It was December 23rd of 1975 that the agency got approval letter from HUD to come into existence. So as Steve mentioned, you know, we want to start the celebration a year out. So we really want to make it resident focused. As part of that, we're thinking about 50 years of providing affordable housing. So this is something for not only us to celebrate, but the community at large. So we want to make a big deal about it, and really, again, make it resident focused. Some use it as a opportunity to do fundraisers as well. So maybe a big gala at some point, you know, closer to the date. But we think we have plenty of reasons to celebrate, and we want to take full advantage of this opportunity. So I don't want to downplay it at all, because I think it's really significant when you think about the service that the organization's been providing, and you all have been a part of that. So we're going to make a big deal about it.
Okay.
There's also been a number of former board members that have served in the.
Yes.
Reaching out to those. Do you have a record of those individuals?
We do, and we're working on compiling information. We thought it was July. Fortunately, it's December, so we got a few more months to sort of pull some data together. But we want to hit the ground running and start begin to advertise this, put that out there. But
Okay.
we have that. Yeah.
Okay, no board committee reports. Item 8, general correspondence, other.
Yeah, we have one. Well, I think that there was about there was Inspire and HATMA. These are two regulatory requirements that HUD has imposed. And which one is it, Christina? HATMA got delayed.
2025.
Yeah, so yes.
Inspire got delayed for 1 more year.
Yes. So I know you don't know what those terms mean, but the reality of it is some of the requirements for inspection and compliance are being delayed, because typically what happens is the requirement gets put out, but then the support to be able to manage and monitor it imposed on the agency, and it's difficult to even to get things right. So the NARO and other organizations have been pushing HUD to sort of delay this phase-in date for when they want these requirements to get going. So we're happy to announce that that has happened. So that gives us more time to prepare ourselves in order to get the training and meet understand the requirements so that we can meet those.
Okay. Item 9, new and unfinished business.
So I will mention, I think I said it yesterday, Commissioners Court, they were going to vote they were going to have interviews today, but I guess they're not having a meeting today, a work session, so it looks like it got pushed back the 16th, I believe. So I think there are 5 candidates from what the last I saw, unless something changed. So they will be doing those interviews, and typically they're online, live. So we're just waiting the outcome of that.
Okay.
But
So there's 5 candidates for this board.
correct.
Okay. Great. Is there any need to go into executive session?
So, Mr. Chair, I know that you had mentioned to me that next month meeting, you weren't going to be available during that time. Are you all interested in changing the meeting date, or are you?
I'm happy to change it if you, I'm back the 9th of August.
Okay. We'll take that information and just poll everyone and see if there's an interest in changing the meeting date or keeping it where it is.
Yeah, the first would be our meeting date, so
It
the
would typically
earliest
be the
what you're
first.
saying is possible the
I'll be
15th.
gone the 29th through the 9th.
Okay. Yeah,
Through the 9th,
So
so-
the 15th would be the earliest for a
If it's
Thursday.
on Thursday.
Yeah, it's fine with me.
That's fine with me too.
Yeah, so,
Kids are back in school.
Well, we'll check with
Yeah.
We'll check it, yeah. With Cheryl too.
and we just have to notify any new board members that come aboard at that point.
Correct. We will check with Ms. Brown, because obviously if
You
it's
just put
2, then we will.
tentatively put it for the
Yeah.
Yes, we
15th.
will check with her.
Okay. Okay. Motion to adjourn?
So move.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.